Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Beaumont and welcome to Secrets Exposed. This is the show that takes you up close and personal with world-leading business experts. And our topic for this interview is how to stop holding yourself back from success. That coming up in just a moment. My special guest today is wellness psychologist Suzi Petrozzi. And our topic for this interview is how to stop holding yourself back from success. And I'm really glad that you are watching this interview. It's kind of one of those ones that no one necessarily wants, but everybody needs. And an important topic, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with Suzi about this topic today. Suzi, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Dale. Thanks for having me on.
So why do you think so many people hold themselves back from achieving success?
Great question. When I think about the times that all the clients that I've seen over the years, in working as a psychologist and coach, it's the one thing, and that one thing is the fear of the unknown. It's almost like people want to know that what they do and their results are going to be guaranteed, but it can't happen, right? You and I know that from taking those risks. And so what I find stops people is fear of the unknown, not knowing that how it's going to work out. People get caught up in those hows as opposed to why am I doing this? And so what I have noticed with those people who do allow themselves to move forward, who do take those steps, is there's a relationship between taking the risks, taking the steps, but also being ultra clear on what their goals are, what their values are, what their mission purpose is. And all that stems back to beliefs. What beliefs do I have about what's possible for me?
So explain what are beliefs in the context of what we're talking about, which is people's mindset and psychology. What are beliefs?
Yeah. Beliefs are basically the essence of how we see the world, how we see ourselves in that world, how we perceive the future, what we think is possible in the future, whether things are going to turn out or not. Also, how we see others in that world. Do we think that world is a great big oyster where things are possible? There's so much that's possible. Do we look at the world as, world's a very distrusting place? So beliefs are really based on those early foundations and experiences, and it's the essence of from where our attitudes come from and our values and so forth.
So they're really how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we kind of view others. Now, where do they actually come from? You mentioned sort of upbringing. What sort of how do they develop?
Yeah, so it's going back to, look, ultimately everything goes back to early childhood, and then what happens is that as we grow as kids, those beliefs get shaped. As we get into our teenage years, then we look for experiences, things that shape or reinforce those beliefs. As adults, we look for evidence that supports those beliefs, and so they get strengthened, which is why they become so rigid. But ultimately, it's early childhood, so parenting, it's experiences, it's society, culture, school, everything that we're surrounded, that surrounds us, and also, mentors that we have or don't have. So people in our lives certainly have a huge impact on, what kind of beliefs we hold.
Now, do you believe that beliefs are fixed once they're set? That's like they're set in stone, or do you believe that beliefs can be changed? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, great question, because I think there's two ways you can look at that. I personally do believe that beliefs can be changed, to the degree that someone is open to change. There are people that I work with and I just, kept running into the wall, not being able to make progress, and it all came down to not wanting to change for whatever reason. So yes, they can change, but that's determined by someone's openness to change, readiness to change. When I was working in mental health, that's my background, I worked there for about 8 years, what I found is that I always reached this plateau when working with clients. At the time it was adolescents, and I used to think, why can't I really take that person to the next level? Because I could see that potential in them. And it was because the environment that we were in, the mental health setting, was set up to merely alleviate symptoms. And so everything everything, designed our experience or my coaching to support that person just to that level. And so for me, the epiphany that I had is that I had to leave the mental health system so that I could, deepen my potential in terms of being able to help somebody, right? But also change the kind of client that I was working with. So yes, they can be changed if you're open to change. I had to make a big leap and step into the unknown and start, business from scratch and start a coaching practice and, never look back, right?
And a lot of people that's where they struggle really. They don't want to change. I'm thinking most people that are watching this episode though are people that are open to change. But yeah, what can you do if someone just wants to stay who they are?
Yeah. So you think the most important thing starts with being really asking yourself questions, powerful questions. Where is it in my life that I create problems for myself? It's that self-awareness. And really being brutally honest with yourself, where is it that I'm the one that creates that, those problems, that I stop myself from moving forward? So having that self-awareness, identifying it, even asking people, hey, how do you think how do you think I stop myself from moving forward or, creating opportunities for myself? I think having an eagle's eye view of yourself is really powerful, but the way you do that is you gotta ask somebody as well. But if you're ready to step up into the next level of what's possible for you, those questions and the answers to those questions come anyway.
Yeah.
And the people that are there that are going to help you are going to show up. So you just have to be open and go, you know what, I'm ready. You have to be clear with yourself first. So it makes sense, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. Now, we're going to go through a whole process with people later on about how they can deal with some of their negative beliefs and reshape them. So make sure you keep watching. But I want to first of all talk about this word called self-sabotage. It's a word we hear quite a bit about, and it's what holds people back. So what is self-sabotage? How do you see it?
Yeah, self-sabotage, the way that I see it, is really how we create, how people create problems for themselves that gets in a way of them achieving goals that they want to achieve. And therefore that gets in a way of you, having a business that you want, having the relationships that you want, and, having that sense of freedom to be who you are. And ultimately, it's really how you get in the way of yourself moving forward. And so, one of the things is when you say self-sabotage, it's a negative sounding word. So, Dale, what I find and what happens often is that, particularly as entrepreneurs, we can get really hard on ourselves because we can be perfectionists, right? And that there's a good quality to that. It's some bits of perfectionism are great to have, but then there's other bits which are not so, which don't serve you. So an important element in self-sabotage, when working around self-sabotage, is that you kind of step back and don't judge yourself so much. Because the minute we judge, we kind of, imagine that, that kind of science phenomenon that my daughter's learning right now, and it's on the top of my head, is the pull and push. It becomes that pull and push relationship. It's like, I want to work on this, but, I'm so, I should have done this better. And then you can never really let it go because you're holding it. And the more you hold it, like you use your energy to hold it, and therefore your energy goes into keeping that self-sabotage alive. It's a little bit like what you focus on grows. So if you focus on judging yourself, if you focus on being negative and critical of yourself, well, guess what? That's going to get bigger. That's going to grow. So one of the most important steps when I'm working with someone is not even stepping so much into sabotage first or looking at those. It's going back even one step back, which is about getting back into your presence, getting back into who you are, and allowing all the, I call it, the mental crap to kind of clear that out, because that's where all the judgment comes from. I should have done this, I need to do this. And it is an expenditure of energy. We use up energy to be harsh on ourselves. And, it's a fine line between being judgmental and then also, having expectations and, pushing ourselves forward in a healthy way.
Okay. Great. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to talk about what are the five main negative beliefs that most people have. And you might be able to already connect with a couple of these. And then we're going to talk about some strategies that you can use and literally a formula that you can apply about how to turn some of these negative beliefs into more positive ones so you can have more of the life that you want. So keep watching and we'll discuss more when we get back. Welcome back. We're talking with Suzi Petrozzi and we're talking about what holds people back from achieving success. And what we're going to do now is talk about the 5 main beliefs that people have that really hold them back from achieving the success that they want. We're going to talk about what they are, maybe where they come from, and then we're going to talk about how we can turn them around. So let's talk about these 5 beliefs. What's number 1?
Okay, so number 1 that shows up quite regularly is I'm not good enough. It's a real, like, intellectually you might think, but I know I'm good enough, but it's about, these beliefs are ingrained in the body, right? And that can relate to I'm not good enough from the sense of, I'm not worthy, or from the sense of not good enough that I haven't got anything to contribute in terms of knowledge, or not good enough in terms of, being kept safe. So it can relate to a lot of different things. The second one is around deserving success. So maybe I don't deserve success, or it can be around deserving something else, like I don't deserve to be loved, or I don't deserve to, to be happy. And again, this can come from maybe your upbringing, maybe that success, you couldn't flaunt success, which is quite a common one, particularly for, if your background is, as a migrant family coming here, you've got to work hard. You just, make it, be grateful that you've got what you've got. Then the third one is, I got to keep busy to survive. And this is really interesting because it shows up quite a lot, shows up a lot with women, but it shows up with everyone, with the times as well.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.